Good morning, everybody. Everybody, hope had no issues with the storm. Here in Hattiesburg anyway, it wasn't too big of an impact, but for our friends to the east of us, it was quite an ordeal. And so we wish them all the best as they recover, of course. So today we're going to cover a couple of things. And then towards the end of class, we've got a guest coming to talk about the McNair program. So in the last 10-15 minutes of class will be devoted to allowing Dr. Love to talk to you a little bit about what McNair is and how that might benefit you moving forward should you qualify. So just a couple of things to let you know that is coming down the pike in terms of assignments. I have already posted the Activity 1 assignment, which will be due by September 24th. That is one of the activity participation things that you need to do, so you've got a few weeks. Do not put that off to the very end, though, okay? Because things in a pandemic world can change on a dime. Things can get canceled. So if you're planning on doing something like on the last day and doing everything, that's probably not a good strategy. Okay, it's better to, as you find activities that are coming up, to do those earlier. So if you go into Activity 1, what you'll see is what you have to do. You have to upload everything as a Word document or a PDF. And you must obtain some sort of proof of attendance and provide that proof with the assignment. That can be an email from the activity organizer, whatever. I'll take a lot of different things, but just need to have some type of proof that you attended the activity. You need to answer these questions and provide a reflection. So on your document, you'll need to provide the title of the activity, the date and the time that the activity occurred. What type of activity was it? Was it academic? That is like a club or something like that that's academic, or was it more cultural? Okay, and so we allow something that has to do with a cultural organization on campus. We allow that as well. And then you have to provide on that document a half-page reflection of the activity in regards to how this and similar activities can enrich your time in college and benefit you academically. So that's what will be required. You will then upload that into Canvas no later than the due date, which is September the 24th at 5 p.m. Okay, so that activity is available for you now. Yes, ma'am? What type of activity? It has to be a campus-based activity that's either academic or cultural. So I'll talk to you a little bit about an activity that you can do. You just have to find something that you would like. I would highly recommend that you get approval from me first. Okay, so if you're doing an activity with the ACS student affiliates, that clearly counts. If you're attending a departmental seminar in any department on campus, that would count. About the only thing that I really don't count is things that you're doing for somebody else's class. So, if honors forum is having somebody come and speak, that's part of the honors class. It has to be outside of that kind of thing, okay? So it has to be independent of any other class. But other than that, I'm pretty open to it as long as it's either academic or cultural. Attending the fraternity or sorority party bash doesn't count either. I mean, that's neither academic. You might say it's cultural, but it's really not. So if you have questions, please ask about a specific activity. I highly encourage you to do that. The other activity, or the other thing that's coming due, will be your personalized semester by semester guide. We're going to talk about that in detail today. And that's a big assignment of 100 points. It's due September the 17th at 5 p.m. It's worth 100 points. This is definitely one you cannot put off till the night before. It sounds simple, and it is, it's straightforward, but it takes a little more effort than you all think. So definitely build in time in your schedule to work on that a little bit at a time to build that personalized semester by semester plan. Okay? And if you click in there, you'll see you must use the template found in the module that we're going to talk about today. So there's a template in there. Use that template. Do not recreate the template. okay? You must follow all the instructions, right? And then you'll upload it as either a Word or PDF document, okay? And follow the rules, kind of thing. All right, let's jump into the materials for today. So we had two things that I wanted you to read. One was on, oddly labeled, barnacle glue from the Chemical and Engineering News, which is our trade magazine, if you will, in chemistry. Okay. Why do you all suppose that I picked this thing for you all to read? I mean, it was pretty short, not too terribly technical. Why would I pick something like this for a freshman or sophomore chemistry student to read? What did you take from it?
Something like, I don't know, I just thought it was like kind of random and interesting that they looked at particles coming out of wet things and they were like, oh, I'm going to add that into people bleeding and see what happens.
That's right. So it's about being inspired by nature. And chemists, biochemists, biologists, just about any scientist, as well as artists, are inspired by nature. And science is no different than art in that regard. We find a lot of inspiration from nature. You'll find that that's a real problem. People bleeding out happens a lot, right? I mean, you're in an accident. You've got some sort of major wound. Chances are you're going to, your issue is one of blood loss as opposed to anything else a lot of the time. And there's not enough time to stitch it up or whatever the case may be. So having some type of adhesive that can work in a wet environment is very, very important. Well, they turn to barnacles. You all know barnacles like to stick to the hulls of ships and everything, and they really have to scrape those things off. They're in a permanently wet environment, and yet they're able to secrete a glue that allows them to stick so well. So they were looking at what nature has provided to solve similar problems and adapted it in the chemistry or materials world, if you will. So yeah, this is one of the things that I hope you all take from the class is that scientists aren't all just about facts and figures and solving equations. We also have to look for inspiration a lot of times. We have to find that thing in nature or that creative thing to try to solve the problem. And so that's one of the reasons why I really wanted you to read this particular article. Okay, and so there will be a lot of little small readings throughout the semester that are part of what it is that we do in this class. All right, you're going to see a lot of stuff come at you this semester. This came from this week's Talented 12. There were 12 young scientists that they decided to showcase in Chemical and Engineering News. I picked Shanique Alabi, and just so happened she was one of the first ones in the thing. There's 12 folks in this particular Chemical and Engineering News episode, and every year they highlight the Talented 12. Okay, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about what it is that she does, but what I want you to take note is she's young. She's 29 years old. She just graduated from Yale University not too long ago and is already being featured, in a very prominent, worldwide distributed trade magazine on the things that she is working on at the company. Okay, and so you're going to get from me throughout the semester little readings on people's career paths and trajectories, things like that, because I want you all to know that there are many different paths that you all can take with a degree in chemistry. Many of you right now may think you're set on going to medical school, okay, or dental school, or graduate school, or whatever the case may be, and things will change between now and the time you become a senior. Some of you will stay on that track and be successful at it. Others of you will run into life's little challenges and take a detour to a place that's probably better off for you. Some of you will get inspired to do other things. I had a student a couple of years ago, actually, who started out, got the Mississippi Rural Physician Scholarship, was headed to medical school, and then had an inspirational moment when he was a junior, and decided to completely change his track and become a teacher. Okay? He interacted with some students, found out that he really loved that and didn't want to really spend all of his time in the hospital dealing with sick people. Okay? Clearly bright enough, had the grades, had the MCAT score, was going to be able to go to medical school, but changed his mind kind of at the 11th hour, if you will, and completely changed where he ended up. And so I want you to see that there are a lot of different tracks out there, a lot of different opportunities for you as a chemistry major. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about this particular individual, but you need to read it, and there will be some stuff probably on your notebook reflection about these readings. There will always be something about the readings or the videos that I have you watch in your notebook reflection. So it's important for you to look at these very, very carefully. Okay? And always look at the research at a glance. Gives you an idea of what's going on, trying to deal with these proteins that she's working with to try to stop cancer. And so there's an awful lot of work going on, as you all know, on finding new and novel anti-cancer agents and ways to treat cancer. Are there any questions about that before we jump into the other stuff? Any comments? Okay. All right, so in your module for today, I've put a couple of things that you all need to know about. The first one that we're going to talk about is the ACS Student Affiliates first meeting. If you click on that, I guess you got to download it because it's a JPEG. So I'm not going to open it right now. But if you open that up, you will see that there is an ACS meeting for the student affiliates this coming Thursday. It gives you the information there. That is an activity that you can do that's available to you right now to satisfy activity 1. Okay, so I'm giving you kind of a hint of something there. I highly encourage you all to be involved with that. I've also given you a link called Chemistry Programs, and you have to click here so it will load. This takes you to the bulletin. Anytime you go to our academic bulletin on the registrar's website, you always need to make sure that it has the correct bulletin year for you. Okay, you all should already know this. You should have been told about this, but I'm gonna reemphasize it here. If you started as a freshman this year, you are in the 21-22 bulletin. Your bulletin is good for 6 years. Okay? After 6 years, it expires. And if you haven't graduated within 6 years, you either have to get permission to continue your bulletin or you have to switch bulletins, which could mean additional requirements, which you typically don't want to do. Okay? If you started last year and you're a sophomore this year, you're in the last year's bulletin. That would be your bulletin year. Unless, you changed your major, then you could change your major into the new bulletin year as well. Okay? So you always want to make sure that you're in the correct bulletin year. If you have any questions about your bulletin year, contact your advisor. Okay, they can help you with that. When you look under the School of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, you will see all of the programs that we offer at the undergraduate level, right? And we're only going to focus, of course, on the 3 chemistry ones today. We have chemistry, ACS certified chemistry, bachelor's degree. We have a biochemistry degree, which is ACSB accredited. And then we have our chemistry licensure. Licensure means I want to prepare to teach in secondary education, like high school. Okay, so you want to work to get a license to teach within the state of Mississippi. Okay? All of these plans are essentially the same in how they're laid out, but they have different course requirements. And that obviously we don't have time to go through all of them today. So I'm just going to pick on the very first one, right? The ACS certified. When you click on that, what you'll find is some information about the program. Okay? And then you'll have a couple of links. You'll see its availability. It's available only on the Hattiesburg campus, which is why you're here, right? You'll see all of the program policies and requirements. Okay? Students must have a grade of C or better in all prerequisite science and mathematics courses germane to their chosen emphasis area, which means if you're an ACS certified chemistry, if a course has a prerequisite to it, a science or math prereq, you must get a C or better in that prereq course to move on. Yes, ma'am?
That means is like in calculus, after you get C to go on to the next one?
Yes. So if you were in Calculus 1, in chemistry, you got to have Cal 1, Cal 2, and Cal 3. You need to have a C or better in Cal 1 and Cal 2 and Cal 3 because those are prerequisites to other courses, okay? Actually, So you've got to have, in any math or science course, you got to have a C or better, okay? And then to graduate, of course, you've got to have a GPA of 2.0 or better in all of our DEG 01 and 02 sections of the degree plan, and I'll show you what those are in just a moment. What you will see when you have two links. You have the ACS Certified Chemistry degree requirements, and you have the semester guide. That semester guide is probably the most useless piece of information we put out there because each and every one of you are unique. Okay, if you click on that semester guide, you'll see that it says you're going to start your freshman year fall semester in Cal 1. Some of you may be starting in Cal 2. Some of you may be starting in Trig. It doesn't matter. But that automatically puts you off sequence for what that semester by semester guide shows. That's why we're having you build a personalized semester by semester guide that is more tailored, where it's exactly tailored to you and your needs. So just really focus on the BS degree requirements. When you click on this, you'll see that there's general education. Many of you are probably already in many of these courses like English, right? You're taking some science courses right now that would count. Obviously, you don't have to have all of these. Some of these will double count for your major, right? GEC 03, we're not going to talk too much about the GEC today, but the GEC is a very important part of our curriculum here at the university. It gives you a broad background in things like English and literature and math and science and arts and social sciences. Okay? Excuse me?
Do we have to take a history every semester?
No. Not every semester. No, you only have to have one history actually. Unless you're in licensure. I think then you have to have two. But you'll be able to see that. So when you get down to what we call the DEG areas, this is your program curriculum. This is what we call the major. Okay? And you have to complete all of these courses. Okay? So you have to have Chemistry 106, 107, Chemistry 108, which is what you're in right now, Organic Chemistry, so on and so forth. All of these courses you have to have. You have to have one semester at least of 3 hours, counting for capstone research. You get to select one of these two courses, okay? Either Chemistry 420, which is Principles of Biochemistry, or Chemistry 421, which is called Biochem 1. If you're thinking about going to medical school, I highly recommend you take 421. If you're a chemistry major, then wants to be a professional chemist, I highly recommend 420. It gives you a broader background on biochemistry as opposed to Biochem 421. Biochem 421 goes into a lot of detail. You obviously have to have math, Cal 1, Cal 2, Cal 3, but you may have some prerequisites. So for example, if you were to click on Math 167, it comes up and tells you what is necessary. To start in 167, you have to have a math ACT of greater than or equal to 26, or a C or better in Math 103. Okay? So that tells you what is a prerequisite to this, okay, to get into Math 167. You also have to have physics. You either have to take the Physics 111 or 112 sequence or the 201, 202 sequence. The big difference is that 201 and 202 are calculus based. 111 and 112 are trigonometry based. Okay? Both of them will prepare you just fine for your higher level courses. The American Chemical Society recommends that you take calculus based physics. I recommend that you take calculus based physics. It's a little more rigorous. It is calculus based, right? So you're going to be deriving a lot of the physics equations from calculus. And it will prepare you better if you want to go to graduate school, or if you might be thinking at some point you want to go into chemical engineering in graduate school. Obviously, we do not offer chemical engineering at USM, but some students will get a degree in chemistry and then go on and get a Chem E graduate degree. Okay? So if you're thinking about that, I highly recommend the physics-based calculus. And then, of course, you've got electives that you can choose from to get to your 124 total credit hours. All of these courses are really, really good. I highly recommend several of them, but I'm not going to go into my recommendations today. You have to pick what you think will satisfy your goals moving forward. But what I want you to note is that you can click on any of these courses and you will see what the prerequisites are. So for 461, which is your P-Chem class, you have to have completed analytical chemistry, which is 311, organic 2, which is 256, and you have to have your physics sequence done, okay? And you have to at least be through Cal 2. You have to have a C or better in all of those courses before you can get into 461, okay? So you can understand the prerequisites that are required coming into this particular program, okay? Chemistry is a highly structured program. This isn't like some of the humanities programs, and I'm not picking on humanities, it's just the truth, where you get to pick and choose and take different pieces to make your curriculum, okay? Nothing wrong with that, all right? But in chemistry, we are layered. You have to have a good foundation in mathematics and physics before you can move on to some of the higher level courses. If you don't have that, you're going to struggle, okay? Because when you go to physical chemistry, you're going to be using not only mathematics, you're going to be using physics. Some places actually call that course chemical physics, okay? We call it physical chemistry. It's a more traditional name for it. But nonetheless, you have to have a good, solid foundation in those things before you move forward. So, as you build your semester by semester guide, you need to keep the prerequisites for courses in mind, and you need to think about what that course is a prerequisite to. Okay, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Are there any, yes, ma'am?
So I know that there are prerequisites for items, but aren't there also like certain classes that are only offered one semester and not the other?
There are certain courses that are offered only one semester. So I will upload into the thing a guide on when things are offered. That's always subject to change to some level, but I can tell you that Chemistry 420, Principles of Biochemistry, we offer it both fall and spring. Chemistry 106 and 107, Gen Chem, we offer that every semester. Organic 1 and Organic 2, we offer those every semester. Analytical, we teach in the fall. P-Chem 1, we teach in the fall. So I'll upload that stuff that'll give you a better idea. Your electives, however, we offer those on rotation. So you might come up to a semester when you're talking with your advisor, and you know it's just not the time for the rotation for that particular course. So I'll upload that information as well. You will probably not have a perfect semester by semester guide at the end of this assignment. The goal of this assignment is for you to have a product to take to your advising session in early October, so you and your advisor can sit down and figure out the nitty-gritty details, okay? They will sit there and look at it, well, yeah, you could take that there, but given what you're doing with honors or with the Greek life or whatever, maybe it'd be better if you move it over here. They will have those types of conversations with you. And I am certainly not qualified to have those conversations because I don't know a lot of that. I'm not a professional advisor. Yeah,
Always have.
that's okay.
So you know how we pay for like state classes in the fall and the spring? What if you want to take summer classes?
You can take summer classes. We don't offer as many summer classes for you in the summer. Typically in the summer we do offer some physics options. We offer general chemistry and organic chemistry. I would highly recommend as a chemistry major that you not take your science courses in the summer. It is the same course, but it is condensed, it is faster. You have less time, in my opinion, to digest the material. I don't think it's as strong an experience. However, I think in the summer, it's perfectly fine to take some of your general ed courses, some of your elective courses, etc. Now, some people will take a science in the summer because they want to get back on track, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just encouraging you to try to take your science and math courses in the regular semesters as much as possible. I think it's a better experience for you. Does that answer your question? Okay, good. All right, so now let's look at the assignment itself. If I can get back to it. Where am I at? There we go. So you've got access to all of that stuff. This is your personalized semester by semester guide template. It is a Word document. Okay? Notice I have filled some things out with fake stuff. You will not submit it with fake stuff. You will put your actual stuff in there. But do not mess with the formatting. Okay? Do not mess with the formatting. Part of this assignment is for you to follow instructions. That's kind of part of the thing. Some of it may seem silly to you when you're doing it. But trust me, when you go to your advising session and you have that document with you, it will make sense as to why I've laid it out the way that I've laid it out. It will make sense as to why there's things that you have to comment on. Because your advisor is going to talk to you about those things, and you will have already thought about them by doing this assignment. Okay? So the very first page on this personalized semester by semester is called the general information page. You're going to put your name, your ID number, your degree plan, right? Are you ACS certified chemistry, biochemistry, or licensure? You'll put whether or not you're in the honors college. You'll put a minor, if you're in a minor right now. Many chemistry majors will minor in biology if they're in biochemistry. Some of them will major in polymer science and take some polymer science elective courses. Some minor in business because they know they want to be in industry. So they'll get a chemistry degree with a business minor. That's all up to you. That's fine. But you'll need to list your minor there if you have one. If not, just put none. You'll need to figure out who your advisor is and list them here. You'll need to list your ACT math score or your SAT equivalent if you took the SAT. You'll need to mark whether or not you had any high school AP advanced placement credits. Did you do any dual enrollment? Are you in a fraternity or sorority?
Who's our advisor?
Pardon?
Who's our advisor?
Your advisor you can find in SOAR under your student account. I think if you're all freshmen, and some of you aren't, but if you're freshmen, I think your advisor is Destiny Delancey in the advising center. If you took high school AP credits, you will list them in this area. If you took dual credits, while you were in high school, you were also enrolled at a college taking credits that counted for both high school and college, you'll list those here. Then you're going to discuss your career plans and the relation to chemistry and biochemistry. And I gave you an example there of what I'm expecting. That's about the length I'm expecting from you. Okay? Notice that's all on one page. Do not put anything else on that page. That page is dedicated only to the general information and those things. Okay? Don't worry about saving paper. There's a format to this. Okay? You will then go on to the next page. And this is fall 2021, current semester. This is only if you are a freshman and this is your first semester. If you're a sophomore or a transfer student, this will be your first semester in college. Okay? But this class was really designed for first-time freshmen, so the first one starts here. So fall 2021, current semester. Okay? These are the courses that you might be taking this semester, right? So in this particular example, I put Math 101, College Algebra, 3 credit hours. It is a prerequisite to Math 103. Math 103 is not a prerequisite for Math 101. I want you to tell me what these courses are prerequisite to. Very important. People get that confused. They look in the bulletin and they go, oh, the prerequisites for that class are this. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you, what is that course a prerequisite to? Okay? So you'll list all of your courses, math, chemistry, whatever the case may be, English, GEC courses, whatever the case may be. You'll total up the hours. For those of you on scholarship, you probably know that you have to be enrolled in 15 hours to maintain your scholarships at the university. 15 hours is called a full-time equivalent student. If you are taking less than 12 hours, and there's nothing wrong with that sometimes, you are not a full-time equivalent student. Even though by financial aid you are a full-time student because you're taking 12 or more, you're not what we call a full-time equivalent student. Okay? You are then going to talk about why you're taking these courses in this semester. You'll write a paragraph about that. This is just an example to give you an idea of what I'm looking for. Okay? Why Math 101, why, you talk about those. Okay? Keep it brief. But then think about it. It's there to help you think about why you've chosen those courses in that semester. Yes. Yeah, you need to, everything that you're taking needs to be on this particular page. Then you're going to talk about time management in the semester. Okay? You need to think about time management more than just being in class. Can anybody tell me how much time it should take you to, in terms of studying and all the work that you have to do in college if you're taking 15 hours?
45.
About 45, yeah. That's why 12 hours is, by the federal government definition, is considered a full-time student. Because 12, and then adding on to it, because for every hour of class time, you got to have about 2 hours outside time, right? You add that all together, that's pretty close to 40 hours. So you need to think very carefully about time management. So as you're thinking about, hey, I've got these 15 credit hours, but I'm also working 10 hours at a job, or I'm working 20 hours at a job, I'm a member of a sorority or fraternity, I'm in the honors college, whatever the case may be. You need to think about your time management for that semester. Okay? You will then go on and you will fill out the spring semesters. You put in the year, right? You'll put in your courses, you'll put in your hours. Why these courses? Time management. I'm wanting you to think forward into the future a little bit about how your schedule and your time management need to be thought out. Spring, you might be thinking spring's a long way away. It'll be here before you know it. And you really already need to be thinking about your time management for the spring. You're going to be in Chemistry 107, you're going to be in this, you're going to be in that. Oh my goodness, I just found a job that I really want. All of that is part of your time management, so you really need to think about it. Okay? There is no right or wrong answer here. But you got to be realistic, right? You still got to sleep, you still got to eat, you still got to do your laundry. You still got to have some time to hang out a little bit.
Do you want each semester on its own page?
Every semester is on its own page. Yes?
I'm a transferring student, so I think technically I'm a junior.
Yep.
Where should I start?
You will start your first semester as when you're at the community college. That will be your first semester.
My old schedule.
You will go back to your old schedule. You will have laid out your entire degree plan from there. So you will go back in time a little bit for your first semester.
About 2 years.
Yep. And so for every fall, you will have a fall page, and for every spring, you will have a spring page. And if you are doing anything in the summer, you will have a summer page. The chemistry, biochemistry, and licensure programs do not require you to do summer coursework. That is up to you.
For the new enrollment and the AP classes, do we need to do the grade or just name the classes?
No, just need to put the classes. Yeah, just need to put the classes. Okay? What I want you to know about summer. Many of you don't live in Hattiesburg, probably. Many of you are thinking, well, you know what, I'll go in the summer to my hometown, there's a community college, and I'll take a course, maybe one of my art courses or whatever, and I'll transfer it back. Students who plan to complete courses at another institution must receive written permission to do so. Why is that? Because we want you to have all of the credit that you took. We have had students in the past that have left the University of Southern Mississippi in the summer and went somewhere else, took a course, and then came here and said, oh, I took that at that course. And then we look at it and we go, it transfers, but it doesn't count for what we need. It's not the same course. That's why we do this. There is a permission to transfer credit form that your advisor knows about. Okay? And we make sure, and the reason we do this is to, if you have that piece of paper that's signed, that's guaranteeing that it will transfer back and count. It's in your best interest to do that with your advisor. Okay? But again, I do not highly recommend that you spend a lot of time doing summer coursework, actual coursework. I think it's okay for the GEC courses. But your science courses and stuff, I would highly recommend you not do. The thing that you all really need to be spending your summers doing as chemistry majors is getting involved in things like research, getting involved in things like the McNair program, which Dr. Love will talk about with you all here in just a moment when she arrives. So, there are opportunities for you all throughout the summer. You're going to hear from some students that this past summer spent doing internships and research experiences for undergraduates at other institutions as well. We really want you to get away and do those types of things during the summer. Study abroad in the summer is a great thing. A lot of people will go take that biology course that goes on in Belize in the summer because they want to travel, they want to do that kind of thing. They'll do the Jamaica program or something like that in the summer. Those are great times to do that type of thing. Okay? Are there any questions about this assignment? All right, yes, ma'am.
Semester's oldest to last graduation?
Yep. You're going to do these in chronological order. Okay, if you're starting as a freshman today, obviously it's going to start with 21 and you're going to move forward to 25. Yes?
If we don't plan to do summer credits, just don't put anything in it.
If you plan not to do anything in the summer, do not include the summer page. Yes, sir.
On the dual enrollment courses that have a different name than the equivalent for here, do you want us to put the old name or the equivalent name?
I want you to put the name of the course that you took. The name of the course that you took. Okay? So real quick, what do I look for when I'm grading this? How do you get full credit 100 points? Number one, did you follow the instructions? Is every semester on its own page and doesn't go over? Not even by one character. Number one. If you find that you're going over the page, you're going to have to figure out how to condense it. That's an exercise that's very valuable to you that will serve you well in the future. When you go off and get a job and you've written a report that's 15 pages long for your boss is going to say, give me the note card version. That's what I'm asking for here. It's a good skill to have. 2, I'm going to look for completeness. Did you include all of the credits that are required for the degree, and do you have enough electives that bring you up to the 124? Okay, that's another important thing. I'm going to look at that. And then the last thing I'm going to look for is that prerequisite stuff. Do you have your prerequisites correct? In other words, if I see you taking physics after PChem, that's a problem, right? So that's what I want you to get down. I'm not going to really worry so much about, oh, you're taking too many credits this semester, you need to shift some credits around. That's what your advisor is going to do with you. You're going to take that document to them. You're going to sit down during that first advising session, and they're going to go, okay, you've got everything you need. You've got your time management down. We know what's going on. But look, you're taking 18 hours this semester and only 10 here. Let's move some of that around and even out the load a little bit. I'm not going to give you advice on that. Your professional advisor will. Okay? All right. Are there any questions about any of that? All right, so you've got some time. But this isn't something you can do the night before it's due. Trust me. People have tried to do it, and they lost a lot of points because they tried to do it. It's not hard, but it requires some thought. That time management section and that why these courses is really a personal conversation with yourself. Okay, so be honest. Don't sit there and say, I wonder what Dr. Masterson wants me to say here. You have to build a degree plan that fits your situation. Some of you have to work. Some of you are involved in things that you want to be involved with. Some of you are starting at different points. Okay? That's all okay. You just need to come up with what you need to come up with. Any questions? All right, I think, is Dr. Love there?
Yes.
Oh, come on in. How are you? So she is going to talk to you about the McNair program.
Thanks for inviting.
Pardon?
I said, thank you for inviting.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome.
Can you take one?
I will take care of that for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep, so you can just talk with them. So we are recording, so if you'd stand there so they could see your face and the microphone. Yeah, please do.
How are you all today?
Good.
That's good. Okay. My name is Dr. Love. I am the program coordinator for the McNair Scholars Program. Who's heard of the McNair Scholars Program? Okay, 1 or 2 people will get to that. Dr. Masterson was talking about a very important thing, deciding on not only your academic trajectory, but what your career plans are. Does anybody know what they want to do? What are your career plans? I can't hear you.
I want to be a vet.
A veterinarian. Okay. Specifically, what type of?
Small animals.
Okay.
Practice.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
I want to be an anesthesiologist.
Anesthesiologist. Okay, cool. Because most of you all are getting ready to know what it is that you want to do. Most of you are majoring in biology, chemistry, biochemistry, correct? Do we have any other majors? I want you to know that most research jobs in biology, chemistry, and biochemistry require a PhD. And if you're going to go straight out of college and work as a biochemist technician, even those jobs for higher investigative levels research require a master's degree. So you're going to have to go to what? Graduate school. You've chose a career field where research is going to be a daily part of your career, and in order for you to make some money and really get a job, you're going to need graduate school. Now, you can get an entry-level position with some bachelor's degrees and even some master's degrees, but if you're looking over a long period of time, what you're going to do in terms of after you're done with that entry-level job, you're going to need grad school. So this is where the McNair Scholars Program comes into play. Who knows something about the McNair Scholars Program? Just give me what you got. Nobody knows anything? That's cool, because I'm here today. So the McNair Scholars Program is designed to increase the number of PhDs in groups underrepresented in graduate education. We help students chart a career path to grad school, but not only that, we give students a $4,200 stipend. We pair them with a faculty researcher of their choice, a faculty member of their choice, so they can conduct research that they're interested in. But not only that, we give you professional development, GRE prep, free GRE test waivers, free graduate admission waivers. We give you, we really immerse you into the graduate experience. So when you leave the McNair Scholars Program, it's a summer intensive program, you know how to do a research paper. You're prepared for your graduate application. We walk you through that process, and we help you secure graduate funding. Most of our scholars leave our program and go on to some of the top graduate schools in the country, like Stanford, Harvard, all of these institutions, because they have gone through our program. Because once you become a McNair scholar, you become a part of a global network of not just USM top scholars, but America top scholars. So we give you all of the support that you need to go into grad school. We help our students find graduate assistantships, graduate fellowships, so when they leave USM, they have everything they need to go into grad school. Let's talk about eligibility. You need to have at least 60 hours. Now, raise your hand if these things start applying to you. You need to have at least 60 credit hours. Okay, all right. A 3.0 GPA. Okay. Keep your hand up if it applies to you. Who's pursuing their first bachelor's degree? Cool. Who is a first generation college student? Okay. Does anybody, you may or may not know, who's receiving financial aid? Let's say that. Probably half of you will come from an income eligible situation or household. Who's a U.S. citizen, establishing residency, or a permanent citizen? That's probably everybody in this room. Even if you're trying to establish residency, you're still applicable for the program. Members of groups underrepresented in graduate education. That should be every woman in this room. When you're going into STEM fields like biology, chemistry, you are underrepresented in that field, so you would be groups underrepresented. But what do I mean by minority status? Because we often think of it as this one thing. What is minority status? What you got? You don't know? I got one more gift for somebody who could yes.
Those that come from different races and cultures.
Okay, different races and culture, and there's something else that I'm looking for. Okay, you're coming from an underrepresented group in graduate education. You can be a woman pursuing a degree, a male pursuing a degree in nursing. Men are significantly underrepresented in the field of nursing. Thus, you would be group underrepresented in that field of education. It's not just about age, it could also be about your financial status. If you're an independent student or a first generation college student, you are groups underrepresented in graduate education, because if you don't have the funding to go to school, how are you in school, right? So groups underrepresented is not just about racial minority status. There's income eligibility, there's first generation, and then there are also, as she was saying, cultural parameters in terms of who's represented in actual academic disciplines. And when you start to think about you as a woman in biochemistry or as a male in fields that are highly populated by women, then you become underrepresented in that group. And that's something that all of you need to be aware about, your social locations and moving into whatever profession that you're going into. So, finally, you need to have a desire to obtain a PhD. And honestly, that probably needs to be almost everybody in this room, because you are in fields where a PhD is the typical degree that people hold in your profession. That's something that you should start thinking about now. Not saying you need to have your life planned out. You probably need to start with Dr. Masterson's assignment, mapping out whatever your academic goals is. But as you start getting towards the sophomore and junior year and senior year, you need to know what your career goals are. And the McNair Scholars Program is here to help you do that. Now, let's talk about why this program is even erected. Dr. Ronald E. McNair was born in the 1950s. He acquired a PhD somewhere in the 70s, right? During this time, minority PhDs were even more slim. This man made significant contributions in NASA physics. He was the second African American to go into space aboard the Challenger and died on the Challenger explosion in 1986. And so the U.S. Department of Education said, hold up, we want to create more opportunities, pipeline opportunities for minority and underrepresented students to be able to go to grad school, because the work that he did was significant for his community and not just for NASA. And so our scholars do important work. They do important work. So if we're going to be investing in students, giving them $4,200, you have to have at least a desire to obtain a PhD within 10 years of completing the McNair Scholars Program. let's talk about application material. Our application is open now through October the 31st, and you only need 6 things. It's not a hard application. You need to fill out the McNair application. You need a personal statement, a writing sample. It could be a writing sample you did for Dr. Masterson class from 2 to 4 pages. It could be a class assignment. We just need to see what your intellectual capabilities and academic capabilities are. You need 1 letter of recommendation. You need a 500 to 800 word statement of purpose, a copy of your FAFSA student aid report. If you did your FAFSA, you would have a student aid report that you can just print off of FAFSA.gov. And you need a PDF copy of your tax return. Now, some of you are freshmen because you didn't have at least 60 credit hours. That means that next year you may be applicable. This application comes open every summer. So by the time you complete your freshman year, you'll have those credit hours that you need to apply for this program. Those of you who are eligible now, I highly encourage you. Dr. Master was telling you about getting some lab experience and research experience. That is going to be critical to your success, not just here at USM, but in making yourself applicable to graduate programs that you want to go to. We have students right now who are getting offers from Stanford University, students who are completing research at the Institutes of Massachusetts because they were McNair scholars. Because once that's at the top of your CV and your resume, people open doors for you. I'm 28 years old and I just completed my PhD because I was a McNair scholar back in 2014. Not here though. I did the program at Ole Miss. And I'm telling you that to tell you that it's possible. This is something that you can do. So if you have any questions in the future, here is my email. Again, I'm Dr. Love. We're going to have an informational September the 10th. If you'd like to receive more information about that, hit me up via email and I can send you the Zoom link to that. The application closes October the 31st. If you have questions about the application, you can shoot that to me. Any questions before I leave?
Dr. Love, what kind of activities might, so they all have an activity assignment. Are there any activities that you're doing this fall that they could attend and kind of credit for them?
Yes. I'm so glad you said that. So we have an activity actually coming up now. It's called the McNair Music Roundtable, where we're going to sit around and talk about the wonders of music, but it's going to be an academic discussion. Not necessarily academic, scholastic, and intellectual, thought-provoking conversation about songs that you listen to every day. That is going to be September the 13th. Pull out your phones. That QR code that is on that paper, on the front of that paper, hit that up right there, and it's going to take you to our website where you can find information about our Facebook pages. We're at USM. I think our thing was up here. I don't know if it was up here. Our @ symbol on Facebook, so you can find it. But it's probably also, all you have to go look us up on Facebook, at McNair USM. The information for that event is coming up. It'll be a SMART event, so there are opportunities for credits for that, and I'll be willing to vouch and say that you came if you really came. But it's going to be free pizza, free food. It's going to be about 20 people, so seats are limited. So you want to sign up now if you're truly interested in going. It's going to be an awesome event because we're really going to be talking about all genres of music. But we'll have some more things going on throughout the semester, and I will let you know so you can pass that down the chain, and you all can come. Any questions for me? The sign up? Go to Facebook. Are you on Facebook? Did you see the post? Scroll down and see the post.
Are you gonna go on Facebook?
Yeah. You're going to find the information for that on Facebook. Or shoot me an email and I'll send you the registration link. Here's my email right here.
If you want to just send me the registration link, I can forward that to the class later.
That would definitely work. I'll send it to you all. So make sure you all go ahead and sign up. It's going to be a great event, especially if you're sophomores and juniors. We're going to be talking about music and the McNair Scholars Program more in depth. But these are the type of cultural activities that we do as McNair Scholars. You don't just do research. We travel. We go to cultural events. So you get exposure before you go to grad school, and you get that graduate experience so that when you get in grad school, you're not lost, because grad school is tough. So if there are any more questions, thank you for having me.
Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Y'all have a good day.
Okay, we're about at the end. Again, other opportunities for you all to attend some activities is through McNair. I will post a link in this, or in today's module when she sends that to me so that you'll know how to go and do that should you want to. I have mentored a few McNair scholars in the past. I can tell you that they have gone on and done some great things. In fact, what I'll do is I will post a video for next week from Christina Probasco, who was a McNair scholar here, went to the University of Alabama, got her PhD, and is now employed, I believe, at Thermo Fisher, and has a great career ahead of her. So just other opportunities that we really provide for you here. I will post the video. Don't forget that there will be an attendance assignment that'll be due by 5 today. I'll go to my office shortly and get that posted. And then notebook reflection will be due tomorrow, and I'll get that posted as well. Hope you all have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next week.